Hi everyone, it's Mike here. So every now and again it's good to step outside your normal comfort zone, and it's good to try and experiment with colours, with images that you don't normally use. It helps to keep things fresh for you, it helps you play with colour and with imagery, and it also keeps it so that you learn what works and what doesn't work together. It's okay to make mistakes, it's okay to take chances, and it's okay to be brave. So today I'm working in my 5x7 Dilutions small journal, and I'm going to take some book text fragments and stick them down onto my pages to create some background layering with the matte medium from Mod Podge. And when I'm happy with the positioning of the book text fragments, I'm going to grab my heat gun and make sure it's nice and dry before I start to add some colour to my page. And the first colour I'm going to use today is the lime yellow acrylic paint from REEVES, and I'm just going to cover the entire double page spread with a baby wipe, making sure that there is an even coating all the way across both pages, even though some of this is going to be covered up later on. And I'm going to just mottle it, dab it down to make sure that there's even coverage all over before I bring out the heat gun and give it a dry. For my next layer, I'm going to use the Dot Fade stencil from Tim Holtz, and I'm also going to use some cadmium yellow deep acrylic paint, again from REEVES. And for this I'm going to use a craft sponge, and I'm just going to apply the paint through the stencil, dabbing the sponge. And before I move on to my next layer, I am going to make sure that it's nice and dry, so I will bring out my heat gun and give it a good once over to make sure it's all perfectly dry. For my next layer, I'm going to use the Layered Circle stencil from TCW, the Crafters Workshop, and fluorescent pink acrylic paint. And I'm going to use the same craft sponge that I used with the orange. I'm not too bothered that the paints are going to mix, because these colours are very strong and they can take it, so it will dull it down a little bit and make it fit a little bit more and not pop too much. This isn't my normal choice of colours, so I am being brave today and experimenting and playing with colours, which is a little bit normally outside my comfort zone. And of course we need to make sure that all this paint is completely dry before we move on to our next layer to make sure that it doesn't smudge. So I'll just bring out my heat gun and give it a good once over. Now to add my main focal image, I'm going to use the matte medium from Mod Podge, and I'm going to apply a liberal coating on the right hand side of the page, which is where I've not got any of that orange or the orange circles, because I knew that's where I wanted to put my focal point. And this is just a collage piece cut from a magazine. So as you can see, I've also put the Mod Podge on the back of the image to minimise on wrinkling and bubbles. And I will go over with the brush as well to add another coat on top to seal it, and also to help eliminate any wrinkles or bubbles that might have appeared just snuck under the radar. And before I add my next layer, I am going to make sure this is dry as well, so out comes the heat gun. So for my next layer, it's another piece of collage cut from a magazine, and this time I'm going to layer over the eyes using exactly the same technique, adding Mod Podge to the back to make sure that there's no wrinkles. And again, using the heat gun to make sure it's all nice and dry before we move on to our next layer. So ensuring continuity with the layers, I'm using the same stencil that I did to start off with, which was the dot fade stencil, but this time I'm going to use the titanium white acrylic paint from REEVES. So this time I'm going to ensure that the majority of the paint is around the outside, so I'm creating a kind of white speckled border to break up the edges and just to add a kind of frame around the page. But I will also introduce some of the white paint into the centre of the image to break up the edges of my collage piece. So I'm now going to just pop this to one side to dry on its own this time, because I'm going to nip downstairs from my craft room and make myself a cup of tea, and it'll be dry by the time I'm back. So tea break over, I'm now going to use some of the stickers from the Small Talk stickers from Tim Holt's Ideology, and I found the two perfect phrases that would go perfectly with this art journal page. So if you can't read that sticker, it says, "Keep some room in your heart for the unimaginable." And this second set reads, "Be brave," which is what I've been with the colours and the images on this art journal page today. So just to finish off, I'm going to use the SIGNO white opaque rollerball pen, and I'm just going to go around my word blocks and also around my collage images, just to add a little bit of a frame, a little bit of a border, just to make them pop off the page. Because I've introduced black with the word blocks and also the black and white image on the eyes, I decided to add some more black into the background. So for that, I'm going to use the gorgeous grunge stamp set from Stampin' Up. I'm using this top image there, and I'm also going to bring out my jet black archival ink from Ranger, and I'm just going to add some black speckles just randomly around the page, just to bring that colour in and make it a bit more cohesive with the rest of the colours on the page. And because archival inks don't dry straight away, I'm going to just give the page a quick once over with the heat gun to make sure the ink is dry before I add my final signature and date. Now my pages are complete, I can remove the page protectors from behind my double page spread. So sometimes it's good to be brave and step outside your normal comfort zone and try something, colour combinations that you wouldn't normally try, and also play with images that you don't normally play with. Now, I've not done any collage images like this for quite some time, so I thought it was time to have another go, and I'm happy with the page. So I hope you enjoyed that little exploration into the uncharted realms of playing with neon colours and with images that you wouldn't normally put together. So if you did enjoy this video, please remember to give it a thumbs up, share with all your friends, and if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel already, you can do so by clicking the button at the end of the video. Thanks for watching, and I will see you all again real soon. Bye for now.